Hello, YouTube. I'm sleepy. I just woke up. Today I'm going to be talking about video games I've been playing or I've played recently. Because I don't have work today, but I can't take too long because I have shit to do today. A lot of shit to do today. So I'm just going to do this unscripted because I feel like it. Um, the most notable difference um in happening since the last time I talked ranted unscripted, which was I don't know, been like a couple of months. Was that I moved and I got evicted, and it was very terrible, and I hated it, and I still haven't really recovered, but I have a job now, so it's cool. Um, so firstly, I have a friend who's a streamer who's been featured on the channel a couple of times, Annie Moyenart, very good friend of mine. Um, and they've been streaming Half Life 2, and you know, whenever I watch someone stream something, I get, like most people, it's like good advertising, like, huh, Half Life 2. Because Half Life 2 recently had its 20th anniversary, and Valve updated it substantially. It's not like it was a bad, version before, but the version now, it's, a lot more cohesive, concise. You got all the episodes in one package. You got, all the graphical updates. You got everything you want to. Nothing in particular is missing from this version. Basically, the definitive edition, like other people would kind of sell it, right? Um, and it's great. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm almost done. I think, what level I'm at. I'm like 30 hours in. 'Cause I'm very bad at the game. I'm at like Follow Freeman. That's one of the last levels, I think. I don't know. Um, don't spoil me for Half Life 2. But my story behind Half Life 2 is that I own an original Xbox, and I don't know if it still works actually because those capacitors kind of exploded. I didn't have time to do it because it was here and I was somewhere else. So I didn't. By the time I realized the capacitors had leakage issues, I was somewhere else. So I don't know if it still works, and the disk drive was also pretty crappy. But yeah, I had the Half Life 2 on Xbox, original Xbox, not Xbox 360, original Xbox, and my God, it's an impressive port, but it's terrible. It's like the worst way to play Half Life 2. You could play it on a school computer right now to be a better version of it, right? It runs at like 480 I, maybe like at like 20 FPS at best. It's very crusty. I don't think they removed anything in particular, which is kind of an issue because they have a lot of. I mean, the textures are lower, the resolution's lower than obviously you would play it on any computer, lowest settings possible. The game's there. I mean, but Half Life 2 is a very demanding game. Like even on I sub because the reason I'm playing Half Life 2 is mainly that my graphics card broke in travel. My 2060 graphics card broke in travel. The one that came with this computer, the pre-built computer, it broke, and I ordered one today. It's coming soon. It's about that same kind of more or less that same power, which is fine. I got it for very cheap, which is still pretty expensive because I'm broke. But also, it's not like buying another 2060 or another pre-build. It'll be fine. But the reason I'm playing Half-Life 2 is because it runs easily on the graphics card I have, which is a 20. Because I'm glad I have a graphics card like in the back I could just like use. This was in my other build, my Linux build, and it could run The Witcher 3 at 30 FPS kinda. So it's a graphics card from 2012 with like 1 gig of VRAM, and my God, it can play Half-Life 2 and a lot of the other games I can play. But some of my library's just been sitting here waiting for me to play it because I just don't have enough like power to play it right now, right? Um, so yeah, Half Life 2. Let me talk about Half Life 2 real quick. And also, I'm listening to A Love Supreme in the background, specifically the second song that goes. The song called Part 2 Resolution. Good song. Listen to A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. One of the greatest albums of all time. Anyway, so Half-Life 2, the reason I'm playing Half-Life 2 is that Half-Life 2 always intrigued me, because when it comes to developers, I mean, when it comes to AAA, I'm usually on the Japanese developer side, and when it comes to indies, I can go from anywhere. Mostly, quote unquote Western devs or whatever. I don't really, but it doesn't really matter. But I'm saying, it's just the preferences I find myself into, right? And Half-Life 2 has always intrigued me because it feels like it's like the best that quote unquote Western developers have to offer. It's like the most polished version of a game. It's inspired by this science fiction that it's a different kind of like vibe. It has a lot more it uses a lot of European settings as its basis. Like I'm assuming Eastern Europe mostly. At least what I just noticed. And it's very fun. It's like every time I jump into the game, I'm just like realizing like this is just like exhilarating. Like this is like I liked Halo. I thought Halo was cool, but Halo's a game I only could really like love in multiplayer, Because if I play Halo by myself, I feel like I'm missing something. Because Halo to me is about like the experience of like covering each other and getting shot and getting and throwing plasma grenades and blowing up your friend or family member, right? And Half-Life 2 is like if Halo was like a single player focused experience basically. Which is strange because Halo is multiplayer. I mean, Halo is single player at this point, and Infinite only got patched in multiplayer. But yeah, so yeah, Half-Life 2 just feels a lot more deliberate. Everything on there seems meticulously designed. Even if it has some like issues in terms of like the game, I think that like it's just it's a game that everyone should play, and probably everyone has because it came. It damn near comes with your Steam account. What's crazy is that like I assume everyone has Half-Life 2 and they just haven't played it. But like some people said, "Oh, I don't have Half-Life 2." I'm like, "How do you not have Half-Life 2?" It's like the Steam complete pack is $5. The entirety of the of Valve's game library is $5. Valve's game library. It's not like it's like 2013 FIFA on the PS3. Like this is Valve, right? Portal alone's worth $5, much less Portal, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, TF2's free already. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, like what are the other games? I'm forgetting all of Valve's games, but like, there's a couple more. I mean CS:GO, Counter-Strike, that's also worth it. But yeah, I mean, it's like that's worth $5. That's worth $5. Left 4 Dead alone is like super insane. Like that's like the best multiplayer game you can play. If you wanna become friends with somebody, you just say, "Oh, let's play Left 4 Dead," right? And then you just see how much like how much you want to be friends with them after that, right? Because it's just like you kind of get vibes from that person. It's like you having fun or not. It's Half-Life, and it's like. And the thing about Half-Life, it just feels interesting, Like the Source engine is just like it feels efficient. It feels like it's like there's this game called Penny's Big Breakaway, and apparently that game was made. It's like the first full commercial game made in like this this programming language that I don't remember the name of. I think it had something to do with cows or something or milk, but. That game feels like, I don't know, something about that game feels very slick in a different way than other games. I'm not sure if it's because that programming language is efficient or what, but that's how Half-Life feels. That's how like all the Half-Life games feel, all the Source games feel, right? Like even when they're running very poorly, they still they feel smoothly. Like you can tell it's your system. It's not because they didn't like be efficient patch it, right? And it's crazy because like the more I'm hearing about these games, the more I'm realizing that like the actual making of the process of the game was horribly inefficient, stupidly so, but it got it done. My God, they got it done. So I don't know. Half-Life 2 is just crazy because you have this like the main thing about it is that Gordon Freeman is just a really cool character to play as, right? He is like a messiah. They treat him like such. But it's like in a bro way. It's like if you saw Jesus, like, "Yo, my man Jesus, what is up? I haven't seen you in years, man." It's like everyone's like, "Gordon Freeman, my guy, what's up, Gordon Freeman? Yo, that's crazy. I haven't seen you here in a minute." Like, yeah, they treat Gordon Freeman like he's like a bro. Like, I don't think he's said a single word to any of these people, and they act like he knows him. Like that's the vibe. Like Gordon Freeman has the aura, as they say. But yeah, no. And he's on that cover looking at me while I'm looking at the Steam library, just trying to look at all these games. But yeah, no, Gordon Freeman is sick. Like he's just the coolest guy because he's just the MIT graduate. He's 27. Gordon Freeman is 27. Or like 26. I don't know why that's so funny to me. Like Patrick Bateman. I also rewatched American Psycho. Patrick Bateman's also 27. Like, what is it about 27 that makes you just like have that, you know, that you can do anything vibe? You could play a mature character that goes through all of life's woes, but also you're like, immature enough to make stupid mistakes and it's realistic, I don't know. If you play a character that's 50, you'll assume like, oh, they're already like, they're either crazy or they're already like, wizened through the world. And if they're like a kid, then like, oh, of course they make mistakes because they're stupid. Kids are all stupid. Like, no. But like, 27 is like the mid 20s is like the balance of it, yeah. So, but as far as I'm concerned, Gordon Freeman, his only mistake is just like getting caught up on all this. He should have just like, I guess he saved the world, so we're lucky about Gordon Freeman being there. But yeah, the shooting's great. The weapons are all cool. The only issue I had with Half-Life 2, not the only issue, the only substantial giant issue I had, the boat level. I hate the boat level so much. And it's not that like Water Hazard is like a badly designed level in terms of like just like the level itself. It goes up and down. I kind of go back and forth on them. I'm like, it's way too long. That's my first issue. It's way too long. It's like double the length it should be. If it was cut in like maybe like 1/3 off, it'd be fine. The water boat controls are not amazing. Especially because I played the Xbox version and that version ran like crap. And it was just unplayable in that state. I just like, it's, the game was good, but I'm saying, because I played the PC port with 60 FPS, all maxed out settings, and, well, first I had to turn down the settings because graphics card is not that good, but still, it was like, even in 60 FPS perfect settings, it was hard as hell. So on that version, I had no chance. So that's firstly the issue. It's a difficulty jump. Like, you go from like, playing the game, you have really cool like, comp shooting gun combat, and then on the second and a half level, you're already in a boat. Like, I feel it should have saved it for later, especially with the difficulty jump, because the ironic thing is that the driving level, the car level that comes in a little later, is actually way easier and way more fun. I had a lot of fun in that level, but the boat level just killed me. And the thing about it is the boat level like is exhilarating too at times. So it's like I'm very mixed on it, right? So it's like sometimes it's very exhilarating and very fun dodging the stuff. Like, oh, you almost got me. Oh, you got me. And then sometimes it's just like a drag. You're going through the same like room 5 times over, trying to dodge and sweep some of these combine soldiers, but also you're trying to do it while you're in a boat and you're doing boat puzzles. I'm like, But yeah, and then the time when you're on foot are pretty cool though. Like, they have a lot of good, well-designed areas, good walls and covers and stuff. And Half-Life 2 is making me realize how cool like crouching is. Crouching as a mechanic is not used enough in like shooting games. Like, Half-Life wants you to crouch all the time. They want you to dodge and sweep. They don't want you to just like, you don't have any dodge rolls, no jumping, no dives. No, you have run, you have shoot, you have crouch. And you have the environment you could use and the gravity gun or whatever. So, yeah. Like, Half-Life 2 is just a very well-designed game. Obviously, everyone likes Half-Life 2. But I think, getting to the reasons why Half-Life 2 is cool, because I'm a new player of it, is really fun. So, yeah. I'm not really a new player. I just didn't really get to finish it. So, seeing, more of this game that I played a while of, it's just very interesting. So, yeah. That's fun. Another notable thing that's happened is actually, I have a TV... in the living room now. So and me actually play games better in the living room, which is strange because I have hundreds of games on PC, but I just can't play them well because, I just need that living room experience. I need the couch. I need somewhere to sit. I need somewhere to focus, If you're on PC, you could go and Alt Tab and you could just like say, oh, I'm gonna go on, I need to talk to someone on Discord and go on Twitter. Or I don't use the Twitter anymore. I'm going to Blue Sky. Go on Twitch, watch a stream. Go watch a movie, public domain movie or something. I don't know. I love public domain shit. But yeah, it's just like, yeah. So that's the noble thing. I set up a PS3, I have a big story with the PS4. Let me get back to that. Set up PS3, Xbox 360. PS4, Steam Deck once in a while. Switch I set up, I took down because I don't really like playing on my Switch that much actually. I might play more of the Thousand Year Door though. So through these consoles, I have various gaming experience I've had in the recent months. Um, and I just need to talk about them because they sink into my mind. So um, the most recent stuff. So PS4, right? I got this PS4 from my cousin. Thing was dusty. Thing was loud as hell. Sounded like a rocket flying into space. Sounded like going to Mars. It was horrible, right? And I was like, okay, I can't use this because everyone else is gonna complain. And I don't want to hear this. I want to watch movies on this thing. You know, I can't do this. So me, I'm a technician. So I'm like, okay, I can go and just de-dust it out and see if that helps. So I go on there. I wait for a little while. Um, and I get the screwdrivers. 'Cause I got a screwdriver set from before, and I could go in there, and I'm like, oh god, the PS4. I remember the PS4 having this ridiculously hard to get into thing, and so I go outside, I set it all up with a canned air and alcohol and swabs and stuff, and go in there. I'm just like, all right, let's see if I can do this. Go in there. The dust was horrendous. The dust was monumental. It looked like it was on a construction site. It was full of gravel. I don't even know how that even happened. So I go in there. I meticulously go in there. I've watched like 3 videos at once and see every part of the PlayStation, every place. Power supply, disk drive, the motherboard, all the screws. I know where all the screws in the PlayStation 4 are, and this is the base model. This is not the easy to get into slim model or even the pro model where they had a lot, they figured it out a lot more. No, this is a base model PS4. I got it for free, so I'm like, you know what? I might as well use it. And my God, did I try? And mind you, I tried to jailbreak this PS4 before I even tried any of this. It was loud as hell, but I did successfully do it, and I'm realizing, wait a second. It doesn't stay jailbroken. After you jailbreak a PS4, you have to do it again every time you want to do it. I'm like, you know what? I have a job. I'm just going to go buy the games. So, yeah, that's a different thing. So, yeah, after I do that, I go in there, and then I go into deep into the motherboard, and then I do this thing. I scrape off the thermal paste, and I'm like, okay, well, since it's de-dusted, I don't need thermal paste. It should be fine for a little while until I could get some more. No, it was not. That thing was the most loud console. I think it almost exploded. It was the most loud console I've ever heard in my life. And then it said, and I was like, oh no, I broke this thing. I broke this PS4. And since it was free, I was like, you know what? No harm, no foul. If I did, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. Right? But no, so I had to go back and I had to go search for thermal paste. It was a lot. And they didn't have it in stores, so I had to go buy the line. I had to wait a week, and that was a rough week for me. So I was like, all right, you know what? After all this, I'm gonna go and fix this PS4. And then the thermal paste came, thermal pads came, new power cord came because I broke it while I was trying to get in there. Well, I didn't break it. I damaged it. I put some electrical tape on it. But I'm like, I don't mess with electricity like that. I don't mess with that. If I start a fire because of PS4, that's a stupid idea. So I bought a new little power thing. And, I replace the thermal paste after all this time. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a lot. And I do it on the kitchen table. I already dusted it, so it's fine in that respect. But it was just like a lot of screws, and I was just so pissed off. I was just so mad. And then I did it. I put it all in. It stopped sounding like a jet engine. It sounded like a regular console. And I thought it was louder than it was, but then I realized like every console I've used is about more or less that loud. But I was just like thinking, I'm saying the other consoles I used weren't particularly like they were very quiet, like strangely quiet. So, but it's about the loudness of a high load GameCube, maybe a Wii, because I remember the Wii's get a little louder. But yeah, it's around that kind of vibe. So I go on the PS4 and finally works. Also, I messed with the disk drive, and I got to go fix that later, but doesn't matter. So I go in there, I'm like, you know what? I got to update this thing. Because I'm going to play these games off disc. I don't really care about the jailbreaking because I don't really want digital games for the PS4 all that much, So I'm like, okay, I'll get them off the disc. And I go, and I, as much as it pained me to say it, I get rid of the jailbreak that took me hours and hours to set up. I update the console, put it back to stock, make a new PSN account or whatever. Okay, I lost my other one from the Vita. And I go on there and it's like, let me get a game. So I'm like, I went to the store. I got Final Fantasy 15. I love Final Fantasy 15. I want to actually finish it one day, but I love the first like 10 hours of Final Fantasy 15. I played them like 3 times, so I got that. I got Need for Speed Heat because PC launchers suck, so I'm gonna play it on the console. And I got Bloodborne. That's first couple of days, right? The other day I got Death Stranding, and I got the new Kingdom Hearts 1-2 collection, which I got even though I have it on PS3 because that runs at 1080p 30 on PS3, 1080p 60 on PS4, and 4K on PS4 Pro. So that's why if I ever upgrade to a PS5, I'll have the best version of Kingdom Hearts 1 of all time. Does this make any sense? I don't think it does. So, and I got Time Splitters, Future Perfect, which is actually the third Time Splitters game. I thought the Time Splitters Future Perfect was a subtitle for the original Time Splitters game or a remastered subtitle because that's how the gaming industry works. No, it's a distinct video game, and it's fun. It's great. Yeah, so those are a couple of games I have for PS4. I'm looking to get more. I have Persona 5, the original, coming in, but I specifically wanted the original because the intro for Royal is not even it's not even a lick, not even a quarter as good as the OG intro. The OG intro made me want to buy a PS3. The intro on Royal, I already have Royal on Switch. I bought it the same day it came out, or when it came out around the same time. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a great game. I really want to play Persona 5 for years. And I played Royal. I'm see the intro. I'm like, this isn't it. I wasted my life. I'm getting old. I'm gonna die soon. I'm looking at healthcare. I have to pay my taxes. I'm gonna die soon. I'm gonna be under the ground, 6 feet underground. I'm gonna be thinking, man, I wasted all my time thinking about Persona 5 after playing Persona 4 Golden for Vita. And this shit is mid. No, I'm joking. But yeah, the intro, it genuinely bothers me. I don't care about the baton pass shit or whatever. There's a lot of improvements on Royal. I already have the copy. Like, no, the intro, it means a lot to me. I have a level of autism where it bothers me. It genuinely bothers me it bothers me too much. Even thinking about it, I feel like I wasted I will probably just give my copy of Persona 5 Royal away, even though I paid $60 to somebody, because I just can't take it. I just can't do it. It just feels bad. Because the intro's not even bad. It's just not even close to halfway as good. And the game could be the same. The game could be the exact same quality or even better on Royal, but I wouldn't care because the tone set on the first screen that you see, you need that. It's important because I start a game and I watch the intro every time. Even with Persona 4 Golden, I watch the intro basically every time. In fact, I watched 2 intros. I watched the original intro and I watched the Golden intro. And honestly, I just think that it's just like, I don't know. I just think it's important. I just think it's very important. And also that, so yeah. Yeah, Persona 5, I'm going to play that soon. So, yeah. A lot of RPGs, a lot of weebish shit. Because when you get the PlayStation, I watched this one video. It's like, PlayStation's are just popular consoles, right? I didn't really think about it that way. I was like, PlayStation's a Japanese console. That's why it's, so supported by Japan. It's like, no, PlayStation's just a console, and it's popular because it's just a console, and it's in Japan. So Nintendo doing wacky shit, like, they're like, some developers like, how am I supposed to make a Call of Duty Black Ops game on the Wii? I gotta wiggle this thing around. Oh, I gotta work a little harder for that. Put the B team on that, right? And then you have the basic console, PlayStation, and then Xbox. They go up and down. But Japanese developers are like, oh, I don't know. I don't like Bill Gates. I don't like Americans, but I don't like Bill Gates specifically. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. But you did put Blue Dragon on there, so fair enough. Not the entirety of Japan, just Mistwalker as a company. By the way, I read a book on JRPGs, like most of a book. I think it was like I was around the Final Fantasy 14 chapter. Yeah, and I read a lot of that book, and I learned a lot about JRPGs, and I really want to make that game still, but it's not even a priority anymore. But I still want to make it. I have a lot of ideas, but it's gonna take me a lot to get back into the groove of just like being in that headspace that Sam was, But yeah. Yeah, a lot of cool PlayStation games. I mean, like Final Fantasy is basically a PlayStation franchise. You know, if you want to play a Final Fantasy game, you got to play that. Remake was on there. I'm not gonna rebuy Remake. I already bought on PC. Honestly, the only reason I rebought Death Stranding and Final Fantasy 15 is because they're dirt cheap, and I didn't know if I could afford a graphics card at that point. I'm probably gonna still play Death Stranding on PlayStation. I might go back to the PC version of Final Fantasy 15. It depends. Everything else, I'm probably gonna play on PC. Cause I don't feel like rebuying games all the time. I only bought, Death Stranding just feels better on PlayStation 4 though. I don't know, something about it just like it's designed for PlayStation 4's controller. Playing on an Xbox controller is just not the same. You know what I mean? You need certain functions of the controller, even though it doesn't use all of them. I don't know. It's just different. Kojima, don't question Kojima. I know. Speaking of Kojima, yeah. Death Stranding is. I have a funny thing with Death Stranding, right? I love Snatcher. I want to replay Snatcher. I played it like all the way through once on an emulator, and I watched the it was on Fusion emulator. I think it was like the Sega CD emulator, and one of my favorite games. I love Blade Runner. I've loved Blade Runner for so long. I don't even know why I love Blade Runner. It's probably because it just looked cool, and it feels cool. Yeah, Snatcher, and that's by Kojima. Hideo Kojima wrote Snatcher. I don't think maybe was it by itself. I think there was another developer on there, and then he had like a 5-person team at Konami. I think that's for PC 98. Got ported to, PC Engine CD. I think. And then Sega CD's version is the one that got put over here and translated. And it's a pretty good version. It's a very good version. Probably the best version. Because the other versions, PS1 and Sega Saturn versions, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. But, if you were in a pinch and you wanted to have a copy of Snatcher to yourself, those versions are not bad. But Sega CD American versions, it's sought after for a reason. It's like a game you'd buy a console for. It's like a story you want to experience on its own terms. It's a very good game. But it's not about Snatcher. Snatcher's one of my favorite games though. It's about Death Stranding. So I really wanted to get into Hideo Kojima's games for a long time. I have the PlayStation Vita version of the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. I have like 3 copies of Metal Gear Solid 2. I think I played, I had like 5 consoles with ROMs of or disc images of Metal Gear Solid 1 on it, presumably more games. I could go buy the HD collection right now, but I just never had the opportunity to go and, play all the way through, because they're just not my type of games, honestly. Maybe I need to try more, but I'm not really, stealth isn't my thing, and also Metal Gear Solid, those first couple of games up to maybe Peace Walker, they just have different control scheme that I like feeling. The design is very boxy. It's very deliberate, very amazing design, but it's just not for me because the way it controls, I feel like I'm not doing it right. Like, for instance, you play the PS2 version of Metal Gear Solid 2, right? And then, I didn't know this. I shoot the gun. I'm like, just, right? And I'm like, this isn't right. I'm supposed to aim it. I'm supposed to be able to aim it and, threaten them, right? There's a touch sensor on, like a touch sensitivity on the PS2 controller that I did not know about. Kojima's the type of dude to integrate stuff so deeply that when you port it, you have to adjust the controls. Like, you have to adjust stuff a lot. Hideo Kojima is the type of dude to have if you emulate a console, you need to have a function just specifically for his game. This game called Boktai, it uses a sun sensor. And as far as I know, computers don't come with a sun sensor by default. So, you have to go and emulate it. You have to make a function to change the data in the game to emulate the sun sensor that came with Boktai. Are you getting what I'm saying here? It's very strange. He's a strange man. And Death Stranding's that same way, right? Death Stranding is the Kojima game that I'll probably get the most into because it's not a stealth game. Oh yeah, by the way, I played a good amount of MGS5. I like MGS5 substantially. It feels a lot better. It the gameplay just feels a lot better. I mean, it just feels very fun to infiltrate stuff in that one. Feels smoother. Best gameplay, worst story probably, but it also just just feels good. It's just a very fun game. I don't know. It's the best Metal Gear Solid in terms of actual gameplay. I'd recommend it to anybody. I think that's probably I'm not a good opinion here, but if you want to get into Metal Gear Solid, I don't know. that got me interested in the series more than any other game did, because I was like, you know what, I kind of get what he's going for now. It feels a lot smoother, it feels a lot like next gen. And ironically enough, I started with the Xbox 360 version, so it was on last gen, but it felt next gen. It was a very optimized game. I don't know. So yeah, MGS5, high recommendation, great. But yeah, Death Stranding's like the type of game, right? It's a AAA version of Euro Truck Simulator. And why I'm saying this is because the entire gameplay loop is delivering packages, and the whole thing about it is that he designs it, or like the team, it's a large team, so I can't just say he, but like the entire team behind Death Stranding just designed it with such deliberate annoyance. It's very annoying to deliver these packages. It's very hard. You feel like you're at work, right? But it's rewarding because you get treated with a story that feels very like, film like, and very like abstract. I'm a big fan of Kojima's like writing, not necessarily his like games, as it were, because I really wish Kojima wrote more stuff, like wrote like books and stuff, because I read his I read most of his half or most. I need to go back and read it. Most of his essay book, where he wrote a lot about various fiction books he read over his life and how it fit into his life in context, and how he felt about him, or how he liked him, or what he didn't like, and would you recommend him. Just do the podcast. Like, I like Hideo Kojima as a writer a lot. The way he handles themes and integrates very strange, ideas, but like, it feels natural because he plays it very straight. Like because if you play Metal Gear Solid, you have like fire ghost and jumping gay vampire guys, and then they'll just say something that like they're just dying, like say something at the end like, I knew I shouldn't have become a child soldier, and it's like, damn, that's so real, Kojima. It's like how it feels all the time. They do that shit every single time, like that, and it hits. It legitimately hits every single time he does it. I'm like, that shit's so fire. It's so heat. So, and it's just like, I can't even deny, like, I really just want to get into it, but I just haven't been able to. And Death Stranding, I've tried multiple times. So I'm saying I have like 10 hours in it on Steam. Is it? Yeah, I have about like 7 hours on this game. I'm not very good at playing games, but Death Stranding is like a movie more than a game. I tried playing in the PS4 version yesterday, and I didn't realize that it was mostly for the first bit of the game. I forgot that Kojima is that type of guy to make an entire cutscene, entire game worth of cutscenes on the beginning, stapled to the top of the game. And like, I was interested, I was locked in, but also I was kind of sleepy. My God, I was just kind of tired. So I was like, all right, you know what? Fair enough. So that's it. But yeah, so let me tell you why. I'm sorry, I keep building up the stuff. Let me tell you why Death Stranding is cool. Yeah, it's not just that it's like, the gameplay loop is inherently satisfying. It's resistant. It pushes back at you, but it's like in a way that like, it's like you could rise up to the challenge. And I like when games challenge me. I don't like being challenged, but I like when games challenge me. It's like whenever you play a game like that, you start realizing like, what games can be in terms of like interactivity. And it's not the most interactive game. It's not like, indie developers with like little cranks and little, Playdate consoles or whatever, or, using every single function of everything to the point where it'd be annoying to port it somewhere. Like, no. But, it's just like, I don't know, the grip thing where you need to hold on to the triggers to hold a package. I don't know. I like that a lot. It just feels good. It doesn't feel good. It kind of hurts my hand actually, but it feels like interactive. It feels very deliberate. It feels very like someone designed this to emulate how it feels in real life to hold something. And that's like very, it's that kind of thoughtful design that really pushes it together, right? And the art in Death Stranding is also really cool. But I want the art book because the artist for Metal Gear Solid, whose name slips me right now, is incredible. But you can't buy any of the Metal Gear Solid art books because life is a horrible, horrible thing, and we should all die. So, basically that's the case of that, And I have a lot more thoughts of Death Stranding, but I need to play more of the game to get into it. But Death Stranding's cool. Play Snatcher, play Death Stranding, and play Metal Gear Solid. But you probably already played Metal Gear Solid. I haven't because I'm stupid. But also Raiden is hot. Raiden is so hot. Oh my god, Raiden is so hot. I'm about to twink ass. No, never mind that. No, don't worry about it. Anyway, so I got UFO 50. UFO 50 is great. I'm not through even trying all the games yet, but no, UFO 50 is like exactly what I want it to be. It's just that I'm not a kid, so I don't think I can enjoy 50 games the same way I would have if I was younger. In fact, I can't enjoy the Steam library I have. The only reason I keep buying stuff is because of mental illness. So yeah, so you have the every game on there, right? The best games on UFO 50 that I played are probably like Barbuda is the most interesting. Barbuda is just like intensely interesting, because it's like let me see, UFO 50 games. Barbuda is like trying to emulate the kind of C64 adventure game kind of thing, if you know what I mean. And it's like there's so few people trying to emulate that kind of game that it just feels so interesting. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's so slow and so chunky, but it really makes you think, right? It makes you like try to kind of parse this little map. And it's just like every game on here has that same kind of idea, right? It's not that they try to emulate old retro so-called games, It's that they get to the Derek Yu. I read a little bit of the Spelunky book, and he's a genius designer, absolutely genius designer. Because the way he just like breaks down games and really thinks about them in terms of every element of it, and like programming especially, is just like it's to the point where you play Spelunky. And Spelunky, is one of my favorite games that I hate. I hate it immensely, because what it tries to do is annoy you and make you mad, and it does that to me successfully every time I try to play it. But it's like deliberately, it's so well designed. It's addictive. It's so like it wants you to come back. Like, yeah, keep trying me. I bet you can't do it. I bet you can't do it. And I'm like, I can. Yeah, I can. But you can't. I'm like, yeah, I can. No, I can't. But I never finished Spelunky. One around Spelunky. I got to the thing at the end, the giant head. Never finished it. Right. But it's just one of my favorite games because it just feels amazing. It's like crack. It feels amazing, but it makes you horrible. It makes you into a rabid dog. It's like horrible. And that's how UFO 50 kind of has some of the games feel like. These Barbuda specifically, right? I mean, there are a lot of games in here that are just straight up fun. Ninpek is just really like good. It just feels like a NES game you like play like a good amount of, but like then you realize like, damn, this game's actually really fun. And you realize like you're spending a lot more time with it than you thought you would. A lot of cool ideas on here. More cool. It's like an interesting puzzle game, kind of like Lemmings if it was more dark, I guess. What was it called? Mooncat was also pretty good. I think that was this in-universe sequel to Barbuda. It controls awfully, but I like how it controls. It's like the Spelunky thing. It's like it's on purpose, When someone says they're bad on purpose, like this is when I believe it. Like, yeah. Campbella is like the UFO game where you just hold up and then it goes up. It's great. Caramel is like a side-scrolling shooter. That one's really cute. There's a couple of like RPGs on there. There's the underwater one. Where was it? I forgot where it was. But the underwater one was very interesting. It felt really dark. It felt so like scary, actually. I don't know how they did that. I'm like, you're an underwater game. I don't know how. Like, yeah, Divers is so scary because you have like these dark, shadowy pixel art of these fishes, right? And then they just come up on you. They just like jump scare you, and all you have is like an ambient sound like goes wow, wow for the entire game, and it's like, it really, and like the underwater is actually very scary. Yeah, So it's basically how it feels to like play Earthbound, no, Mother One or Earthbound Beginnings or whatever, because you know sometimes in the later parts of that game it just gets very frightening because it just has like you feel like you're so out of your depth, because you're underwater, because you're a diver, yeah. It's just yeah, it's great. And the thing about all these games is that they're all like substantial size games. You literally get like an NES library worth of games. It's like basically the appeal of UFO 50 is buying an entire ROM set legally of NES games for $20. But they're not NES games. They're better than NES games. They're like when people say like remasters, like how they remember the game, like that's every UFO 50 game. Even like the ones that are like less interesting are like very, very well designed. And so I don't even know how this exists. I genuinely don't. Like, so when I say Derek Yu is a brilliant designer, I think it's more of just like, you know, everyone who worked on the game. It's not like just like him. It was like 7 people, and some of the people were like people who worked on other, indie games. John Perry, Eric, Sukri, Paul Hubans, Tyreek Plummer, Ojiro Fumoto. So yeah, there's a lot of different designers on here. I think one of them made Downwell. I love Downwell. Very cheap game. You buy Downwell, it's like $1 on sale, and it's just fun. I don't know. Doesn't need to be a thing on that, but yeah. So yeah, basically, UFO 50 is just like a game. I can't even start to talk about it because you just literally just don't have. What can I say? You have to do 50 games. Like I could only go over. I haven't even started all 50 of them. I have not even opened them once. Some of them are like really fun too. Like one of them's like a Smash Brothers type game with like you'd get 3 discs. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fun. A lot of the adventure games. I love the RPGs. I love the RPGs on there. I love how they have RPGs on there. They don't have too many, but they don't need too many. Divers alone is worth the price of admission. That game just like freaks me out. So yeah, it's great. UFO 50 is a game I've been waiting for years because I'm fan of Spelunky, and I love the development of that and like how it works. And no, yeah, UFO 50 is basically like the greatest game of all time if you think about like the workload and like ethic of it. So yeah. Buy UFO 50. It's like $20 on sale, and like 25 not. So yeah. Let me see. I got Castlevania Dominus Collection. I haven't started it yet much, but there's this like remake of Haunted Castle on there. It's amazing. It is probably one of the best Castlevania games. I haven't played all the Castlevania games. I played like maybe like 8 of them, but no, it's like up there with like Rondo of Blood. Like I don't know how they did it, and that's what I want out of remakes. I've said this before. Remakes, if you're going to remake a game, you should consider remaking bad games and then trying to push that. I know it's a risk. Either remake a game that's good and has a lot of deep flaws, or a bad game that you have to has potential, One of those two things. Don't remake an entire bad game. You could remaster that at best, right? Maybe Bubsy Remaster is the farthest I let you go on that. Remaking a good game, that's stupid. Don't remake The Last of Us again. Remake, they did Yeek again. They didn't remake it, but they kind of like enhanced it. Good, great. They ported, they remade, Haunted Castle, great, amazing. I got Blade Runner Enhanced Edition. I don't know how, They passed it a lot, so it's not as bad as it was. It was like $250, so I think I recommend it for Blade Runner fans. I just like Blade Runner to the point where I just buy the game just to look at it. I love pre-rendered graphics. I love point and click adventure games are also cool, but I don't feel like I'm gonna play this game. I'm just gonna sit in there and just look at and listen to the soundtrack for a little while, and then like, okay, it's a little diorama basically. But I might play it one day. And I have a lot of other games to play, and I could just go like, Kingdom Hearts. I played Kingdom Hearts 1. I replayed a little bit of it. I'm not good at, as far as you know, I'm not good at actually finishing games, so don't expect me to do that. But I was playing Kingdom Hearts. It's fun actually. It's like I was expecting it to be a lot like I don't know. A lot more convincing at the beginning, but Kingdom Hearts 1 is just a lot. It's just good by itself, right? And the main thing about it is that I don't plan to play many of them, but I definitely don't plan to play all of them. I think the farthest I'd go is playing like 5. I'd play 1, Chain of Memories 2, Um, Birth by Sleep, and then 3. If I ever get to that, I'll just look up the stuff for the rest. I guess maybe not even the cutscenes. It's not even like that big a deal. Um, Recoded is cool. That's on the DS. I like those DS ones just by the virtue of them being 3D on the DS. I would have preferred them to be 2D because the pixel art's so good in Chain of Memories. Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, yeah, it's fun. I don't know. Maybe when I get farther, I have more to say about it. But yeah, I thought the Disney stuff would be a lot like more weird and heavy-handed and just like say, oh, I'm Mickey Mouse and this is the Door to Darkness. But no, it's actually pretty fun. It's actually nice. Nice. Um, I think yeah, I think it's worth playing the maybe emulating it, the original version, or playing like the best console version. PS3 version, I only got it because I got it for free, so that's the only reason I was playing that version. Or if you have only a PS3, but yeah, if you have it's on Steam now. If you have to get on Steam, don't get on Epic Game Store. Yeah, get on Steam, get it on PS4, emulate it because the emulated original version has a lot of different like color depth things, so it's just a different version altogether. You could see the translate. You can see if there's a translated patch for final mix version, but I don't think it's like that big a deal. But I'm not really the Kingdom Hearts fiend or whatever. I'm just trying it out, so I don't know. Just on your own volition, but yeah, it's worth it. I think it's worth trying it out. Because it's so kind of hack and slashy fun game. It's definitely like a game I could see someone being like absolutely attached to if they played it as a kid. You know what I mean? So that's the main thing about it, right? It's the main thing about it. Yeah. Tried Half-Life 1, didn't get too far in it because it has controller issues on the Steam Deck of all things. I don't know how that happened. I'm like, you can't crouch in the Steam Deck version? That's your console. The fuck? That's like if Nintendo made a Mario game, but they forgot to bound like the run button. And it's like you gotta go in the settings to rebind it, but it doesn't let you rebind it. So I'm like, what happened here? You better fix that, Valve. I tried to rebind the controls and it didn't work. I tried to do everything, it didn't work. So I'm gonna go back and troubleshoot that. River City Girl is probably the best beat 'em up of all time. I tried a lot of them, couldn't get into them. Streets of Rage, good game, gets repetitive. Castle Crashers, good game. You got to play it over a long distance. That game is long, but it's fun with friends, but it gets repetitive. Hyperstone Heist and like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle one, like the time ones, they're great. Gets repetitive. River City Girls at least has like controls that feel more like a fighting game, a platformer. They feel a lot like Arc System Works did this one, and I'm like definitely makes sense because they have like wall jumps and like it just like double jumps and air dashes and shit. Like it's everything. You have so much stuff in there that makes it feel better. So yeah, and I'm not even a big fan of beat 'em up, so I don't expect to actually finish that game. But yeah, River City Girls is like sweet. It's sick XL. Like no, it's hot. That game's fire. Yeah, no, underrated. Still somehow underrated. Because I don't know. The only beat 'em ups people seem to play are like the old ones, maybe like Double Dragon, and say this is so retro. Back in my day, like no, River City Girls is sick as hell. And then the pixel art's really good too. This is a very funny game. I think it's very charming. I think it's underrated. It's what I wanted the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up to be, because I love Scott Pilgrim. I rewatched the movies recently, the movie, and I want to watch the anime. And I have the comic, but I never finished it. Right, I still need to do that. The movie is just like I remember why it was such a big deal to me when I was a kid. It's just like everything about it. It's just like the soul of it's just like it's had a lot of heart. The main thing about it is that I'm getting to a tangent, but main thing about the Scott Pilgrim movie is that everyone's gay in that one. Well, that's part of it actually, but Toronto is just such a well built city in that one. It feels a lot more cozy. It feels a lot cold, but it feels warm. It's like everybody's there. They know each other. It's like a sitcom kinda, and Scott has this like very strained but tender relationship with Ramona, and it's like it's great. I think it's great. I think it's a great movie. Not just a great movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. I'd get, in my opinion, it's a 10 out of 10. I could rewatch it. I watched it and I want to watch it immediately again. It just is so action packed, so like every dialogue piece. I want to watch. I think in terms of influence, I'm probably not gonna make a movie as good as End of Evangelion in terms of like what I think of it, like the life affirmingness of it. But I probably could write a movie as good as Scott Pilgrim versus the World, maybe if I try. Which is it makes it feel a lot better to me because I don't feel like I'm wasting my time doing all this shit. Um, Also, if you're listening to this, I'm writing an episode right now. Let it cook. I just got a lot of work to do right now. I got work. I got friends. I got games I'm playing. I actually have a life now. It sucks, but yeah, I'm making that money. Sorry. Yeah. So a couple other games on the Steam library, and I might talk about a couple PS4 games, and I'll be done. Quake. I mean, I always play Quake, so I mean that's not anything new. I was trying Dark Souls 2 again. I restarted it. I just love Dark Souls 2's aesthetic. Um, I don't know. Try the gameplay. And also, I'm gonna talk about Bloodborne in a second, but give me a second. I got there's like $1 or something for like SNK versus Capcom Match of the Millennium on the Neo Geo Pocket Color on Steam. The Steam port is great. It's worth $1, absolutely, because it's just the pixel art, just like it's really just good. I play a lot of games for like the artistic value of them, as in I like them because they look and sound pretty. But that's it's worth it. I think it's worth it for that game. Definitely play it because it's like if you're designing a fighting game, it's definitely good to see how like they break down a fighting game to its bare essentials. Because the Game Boy fighting games weren't good until this kind of came along, or at least like something like this, because they tried to fit like all kind of control schemes on those two buttons, like the NES ones. Like no, just have them hold the button. It's not gonna be a competitive fighter. Just make a difference, make it charming. Shipify them a little bit. You don't want like the Game Boy version of Street Fighter to be Street Fighter 2, but crunched down into an 8-bit console. You just, you need it to be different. Yeah, Penny's Big Breakaway. I was trying that. Pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I was trying Y2K again. It's nice. I like the way the update looks. I was a little disappointed that it was like mostly the entire like game again, so I had to replay the entire game. But I think the battle system's a lot better. I just wish they could have just like polished down the action battle system, because I just like action battle better. But card games aren't bad, so I might try it a little bit more later. I think it's worth trying it. If you already have a copy of it. If you don't, that's kind of your decision. But I have respect for that game. I had respect for it before, but I have more respect for it now because, they stuck with it. They're still trying to make it work. They're still trying to, it debatably worked before, but it just depends on your like perspective, I guess. I think, it wasn't for me. I had some major issues, but it was a really fun game. And I think that like the characters are amazing for that game though. I think like the characters themselves, maybe the plot gets a little weird, little like, I don't know. It gets a little like, it loses the themes, what it was kind of going for. Kind of gets lost in the woods. But I like the characters themselves. Claudio, I love Claudio. He's like the best character in anything ever. Every game would be better with Claudio. He should be the main character of every game. So that's, Yeek should be on your wish list because Claudio is in it. Make Claudio fan art. In fact, if you make Claudio fan art, show it to me. I love Claudio. Not on Twitter though. Only Blue Sky. Sorry, Twitter. Doom and Doom 2. I replayed Doom again. I just love playing Doom. If you haven't played Doom, leave. Do that now. Severed Steel. Severed Steel is a game that one of my friends made a video about a while ago, and I played the demo for it. It was fun, and I played it more, and I bought it for like $2, and it was great. It's great on the Steam Deck too. It's very fun. It's one of those just like first person shooters. I don't know. It has like a lot of like different stuff. My issue with a lot of games like that are like whenever you stop playing them, you forget all the controls, and then you go from being a god to being really stupid. So you have to kind of finish it in one go, kind of, if you're like me. Yeah, Sonic CD,
beautiful game. I mean, a lot of other games we're just not mentioning because they're just not notable in this particular point. I played a little bit more of Remake Intergrade whenever my graphics card was working, or I tried it on Steam Deck, but it was 100 gigs, so I had to delete it. Great game. Tifa's hot. Tifa's so hot. Tifa like it's so fucking hot. And also Cloud is also hot. They're both equally hot. Yeah, no, they're I like playing as Cloud because he's hot. I have a lot of thoughts about Remake Intergrade, but I want to finish it. But I don't think I will even share them because who cares? But I don't know. You should play it. Maybe not buy it full price. Probably buy it. If it's like $30. I think that's probably a good price for it. Maybe 40. It just depends. I think it's not like 70, 60. Yeah, it's already it's $39.99 on Steam right now. So they lowered the price permanently. Yeah, and I forgot Rebirth is on here too. So Rebirth is yeah, Rebirth is 48. So I might get Rebirth if my poor graphics card can handle it. Oh god. 155 gigs. Lord Jesus. All right, no, I might hold off on that, but I don't know. I think the remakes are just I think this has only been done like one time in gaming. Like having a substantial remake, like an entire redo of an entire like games, 3 discs, but separately. But also the first two remakes are only of the first disc. So I'm 100% sure the last game will either be monumentally long or it'll be in its own 2 versions. What if they have Final Fantasy remake, Rebirth, and I don't know, Revival, Final Fantasy VII Revival Part 1 and 2. I'm like, this has already been going on for 10 years. Imagine the only game you get to work on in your entire life is Final Fantasy VII Remake. That sounds horrible, but and I like these games. I think they're really cool. I think the fighting is amazing. The fighting in Final Fantasy VII Remake is so fun. It's so slick. You feel like you're dodging the sword swipes he has in this giant buster sword. Ping, ping, ping. It's like, it's like if I like Final Fantasy 15 too, substantially, but it's like if that was like 2 times as good. Like I think they polished down everything they needed to from that first game. It's to the point where I want to buy Final Fantasy 16 just because 7 Remake's battle system is just so fun. And I don't usually talk about the combat of RPGs that much, but no, it's like that good. And I even play action RPGs like that, but no, it's that good. So yeah, give it a try. Give the new Final Fantasy a try if you listen to this. Mega Man Zero ZX Collection. I already had. So I had Mega Man Zero as a kid on DS. The DS version was great because you got 4 games in one, and that was back in the day when you didn't usually get 4 games in one. You didn't have Steam libraries that gave you 50 billion gajillion games for like $5. You had to buy every game individually. Like Cave Story was $11, and that was very much worth it. But like Cave Story is probably like $6 on sale now. Let me check the price of Cave Story. Cave Story Plus on Steam right now. The port is not the best port of all time, but it is literally $2. Also, the Steam pages, I don't know if this game is in widescreen, but the screenshots are just stretched out, so that's great. But yeah, this game's from like the port's from like 2011, and they didn't really add much. They should have patches, but like, yeah, but the game is so good. Cave Story is one of the greatest games of all time. I already made a video about it. So play it, dumbass. It's like $3. But yeah, you see what I mean though. Mega Man Zero ZX was great. I played through all the games. It was hard, even on easy mode, easy scenario. It's hard. It's so hard. I died so much as a youngin', and hell, I die so much now. But I made it through all the 4 of those games, and I remember this story being so good. And I still want to make a cool story about cool robots, or a cool game about cool robots one day, but it'll probably never happen because I'm not Hideo Kojima. I'll never be Hideo Kojima. Oh well. Yes, collection of Saga. The Saga games are interesting. I just bought that because I wanted the research for the RPG, just like for the visual style and how they kind of do things. I'm not really a big saga game fan of how they handle the battle system and how they handle the thing. Because every time there's a depletable resource in the game, my brain gets strained and it feels horrible. I'm just like, man, I really don't want to use all these super interesting, cool sword weapons because there's only 40 uses. Also, by the way, it's hard for me to play Fire Emblem. I don't know if you realize that. Final Fantasy 7. I love Final Fantasy 7. I'll play it again one day. It's the PC port. I'll probably buy it on PlayStation 4 again. I love that game. It's very cheap. It's like $5 around for every copy. So, I just love that game. I love it so much. Every time I try to play it, I feel so nostalgic, and I played that as like an adult. So, you know, it's crazy. Final Fantasy 9. I was trying Final Fantasy 9. If you play Final Fantasy 9 on PC, get the like modded version. I don't know what it's called. I forget what it's called, but no, you need that. It's not the fact that it's like Final Fantasy 9's PC port sucks. It's like pretty alright. It's fine. It's probably above average. I think it's like a good PC port. It's 4x3. It's like, the game's fine. But like the mod is so incredibly like dense. It unlocks the frame rate 60 FPS to 100 something FPS. Any kind of mod you want to the game. Could speed up the stupid could skip all those dumbass opening sequences. I don't know if that's in like the port by default or what, but those opening sequences drove me crazy. I tried playing the PS1 emulated version. It drove me insane. Every battle you get into, it just like wipes over there. I'm like, I can't play a game like this because everything was like in Final Fantasy 8, everything was already slow too. So I think the same thing happened, but it drove me mad, and it cuts it out. It has so many improvements. You can have voice acted versions of the characters. I wouldn't recommend that version because they're just not the voices I imagined in my head. The voices in my head said that those voices are different, but yeah, it's in widescreen, 60 FPS, 4K up to the things are the backgrounds are manually redrawn and remastered and upscale, and it's like beautiful. I mean, oh god, it's so great. And I'm just like, the game's beautiful on its own, but like having that version just like it just makes it different. So definitely play that. But I need to get more into it. I got past the Black Waltz, all the Black Waltzes. If that's if you play the game. Because the Black Waltz, I instinctively use Vivi's magic on it, and one of them is will kill you if you use Vivi's magic, and I didn't realize it until I looked it up. And I made the same mistake last time, but last time I somehow beat it while using the magic, or I looked it up last time. I don't remember what happened, but yeah. Carol Blasters by the Cave Story developer, one of the best games of all time. Knuckle Sandwich, you gotta play Knuckle Sandwich, but there's a documentary on Knuckle Sandwich, a retrospective by the game developer out now on his channel. Was it Andy Brody, I think? Yeah, Andy Brody. And I gotta finish watching it. I was like halfway through, but it was great. A lot of good information. Very cool for game developer stuff. It's not like like watching the Half-Life 2 documentary where you have like all these different masterclass developers. It's like just like some guy saying, "Oh yeah, I made this game. Thank you for helping make it. Here's some information about how it's made." So yeah, to acknowledge those robots are also hot. I play games based on how hot the characters are. Speaking of that, Puyo Puyo. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to fuck those little glob things. Yeah, Signalis is great. Signalis is one of those games where it's like a horror game, and it's like if Silent Hill 2 had robots, basically, because you're doing the same thing as in Silent Hill 2. You're looking for your wife, but it's same kind of like tone, a lot more dark, a lot more world building, and it's kind of like Blade Runner because you have replicants and shit like that. But it's all German, so it feels cool and different because I'm not German. I only know how to speak English at the moment. I may learn Spanish at some point, but that's not related to the video. But yeah, so you'd be going through these like dark, these dark, dingy environments with all these metallic, metallic sound effects, and then you'd be looking at like this robot's big ass. I'm like, dog, this game crazy. I'm not misogynistic. I just think that I just like characters that are attractive. All right. Although misogynistic, I'm not I guess the bounds of gender. Anyway, sorry. I guess you could be like misogynistic if either way. Sonic Adventure DX. Get that game, mod it. Get any if you get any Sonic game on PC, be prepared to mod it. But the Sonic Adventure games are ports of the games, but they are bad ports. Mod them. I think that kind of catches me up to all the thing. Oh, I need to talk about Somnabuster. So here's the thing about Somnabuster. I got a code from the developer themselves. Yeah, PD underscore CGT. But I was moving at the time and I was suffering. I was suffering horribly. So I was like, all right, I'll make it later. Also, my computer wasn't set up. So yeah. So now that I moved, I gotta make that video. I want to make a video kind of covering Somnabuster because it's good. But I'm realizing that like not being good at finishing games really hurts me in terms of like being able to cover games, but also kind of doesn't because people don't really go to the ending of all the games they play unless you're a game journalist. I'm a game genie. But yeah, Somnabuster, I recommend it. It's very cool visual style. It's very challenging. The platforming's fun. It's basically a Genesis game. It's basically a Genesis game. It has like Rystars stuff. The physics are like kind of the game's kind of like a mix between Decap Attack or whatever that game's called in Japan. Rystar, music sound like Sonic, and a lot of Gunstar Heroes integrated into it. Yeah, but I love Gunstar Heroes. So high recommendation. But probably need to make a different video because an hour long into a video about other video games is not going to be the best place to show off of game developers thing I want. But I'm saying this just to cover my bases, as in this is at least the legal minimum that provides for the game key, because I did play it and I want to review it, but I really was just going through something at the time. And I really like this game, but something just got in the way. But Somnabuster is sick. I really recommend it, but it's just like, I don't know. And it's hard to like find a use case and it's like $10.49. It's a good amount. I think that's a fair price for it. Yeah, it's just really this rough competition for it, And technically, I played it before it launched, like before the pre-release stuff. So I technically contributed to the game. But yeah, the high recommendation. I mean, like nothing. It's a beautiful game. In terms of like the graphics, it's very like webcomic pixely MS Paint shitpost kind of art. I think it's just very fun. So recommend that game. Oh yeah, I did play the Coffin Ashy and Lele. Andy Lele. Okay, the only thing about it is that games writing is better than you expect. All right. Also, Ashley is hot. Actually, Andy's hot. They're both hot. I said this before. I'm not going back. They're both hot separately. Together, not really. The mom is hot. The dad might be hot. The old man is hot. The random woman in the hotel is hot. Everyone's hot in that game. This is the art style. I don't know what it does to me. Spelunky 2. Spelunky 2 is a good game. Killer 7. Killer 7 got an update in general. They updated it a couple of times. They changed the I think they just updated it. Check it out. It's for Steam Deck. They updated it. They updated the visuals. Updated the video kind of segments in between, and they updated again to make it like they went back on the upscale they did. They did like a re-render, I think, or they changed the render and they changed the codec, so it looks a lot better. Killer 7 is a cool game. It's so cool that I feel stupid playing it. Actually, I'm like, this is the coolest visually game I've ever played. And I feel like I'm not getting it. I feel like I'm not artistically inclined enough to get this game. So yeah, and then maybe a couple more games, and let's go back to talk about Bloodborne, and then I'll be done. All right, so Omori's good. I already played it. I don't have much else to say. I was playing a little bit more on Steam Deck, and sometimes I replay games. What is it? Shovel Knight. I bought Shovel Knight because I played it a lot on Wii U, but I don't think I really can play it the same way I used to. Cuphead. I played a little bit of the DLC. Yeah, Cyclonios. I love Cyclonios. I want to actually go and read the entire thing, but read the entire thing from front to back. I got to chapter 3 again. Great game. Resident Evil Revelations. Jill's hot. It's the tight suit. What can I say? I have taste. I was playing Katamari earlier. Katamari has issues with the controller on Steam Deck too, or just in general. It has really big issues with the controller. But if you can play it, and it's very cheap. It's like $5. Yeah, $7. It's great. Katamari is just like a very fun game. Makes you feel good. Has a lot of the what was it, Kibuyoke stuff from the genres. Like, if you heard of Cornelius, the Japanese musical artist, then you kind of know what to kind of go for. Like the light tones, it's like Stereo Lab, but like Japanese. Kind of like that, but like a lot more electronically integrated. I don't know how to describe it. So yeah, Battle Block Theater. I was trying again. Hope it gets the update soon. It needs it badly, but it's a great game. Very fun. Multiplayer is great. Momodora. Passed that finally. I think I'm almost there to where I kind of was. I didn't talk about games for a little while. Final Fantasy 8. I was trying Final Fantasy 8. It's pretty good. I want to get into it a little bit more. I kind of figured out the junction system a little bit more, so I'm just like kind of actually trying it as a video game now, not as like stumbling around and playing the first little 2 hours again. I got to the like first boss. It was cool. Chrono Trigger. I need to play Chrono Trigger all the way through. But last time I played Chrono Trigger, I got to the underwater section where Chrono never mind. And it was great. Chrono Trigger is one of the best games ever made. And the fact that it's on the Super Nintendo is probably one of the greatest technical achievements of all time. Well, no, it's not that crazy, but it looks like a PlayStation game, to the point where it runs badly on the American PlayStation version of the game. And the reason that happened actually is because they stuffed all the English language characters into the RAM, and the game couldn't take it. I think that's what they said, what I heard. Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4, yeah. Valhalla. I got my friend to play Valhalla. The one with Jill, Stingray, and like all my favorite characters, Dana, Say, Dorothy, all of them characters. And, I got a couple friends that play that actually. And it is great. It is the great game. And you should play it too. Because if you want to know about Maple, then just play that game and then you'll get every answer you need. It's Blade Runner with anime girls. I literally cannot say anything else. It is like my top 5 games because it is just literally me. Literally me. And I think I'm back to about where I was. Didn't really play anything else. King of Fighters, other Momodora. I'm saying where I was as if I talked about games like the last video I had my voice in substantially, but Iconoclast, yeah. I have a large ass library. Oh yeah, Blackberry Honey, Yuri, Maids Kissing, Automation Lung's a pretty good game. I think it's getting a sequel soon. And that's like that's a 3DS kind of game, or 3DS game that got ported to Steam and got a lot of upgrades. By Luke Vincent, yeah. And Automation Heart's the sequel, yeah. And that's kind of like the, game that's built a little more for PC, but same kind of style. And the thing about Automation Lung is that it's just like, it's liminal. But it's not like one of those shitty liminal spaces like, oh my god, it's like a, Slender Man in the back rooms. Like, no, it feels like it's in a different alternate universe that's very strange. Like the little Squidward, the universe where Squidward went to after the time machine broke. Like, it's like, alone, like that. It's that kind of universe, right? So that's Automation Lung. And yeah. Very good recommendation. About $7.49, but 1 gig. And the main thing, and so yeah, that's a lot of games. Kind of went through a couple of them. I've been playing a lot of. I haven't been playing much more PC games. So yeah, thing I'll talk about real quick. Bloodborne. Firstly, before I go to Bloodborne, did you know that when you install a PS4 game, they all install to your hard drive? So no matter what, if you play off a disc or if you play off of hard drive, you download it too. Does it does it happen? Does it go on to the disc and you play off the disc? No. You plug the disc in. It downloads, it copies from the disc to your console. I'm like, at least it gives you the game and you could transfer it between people, and it's not like the Xbox One's dystopian universe where you have to buy every single game, even if it's off the disc and doesn't work with other things. It's a piece of plastic. It's like licensed, like some Apple shit. But that's just like, it made me so sad. Cause on the Switch, you just play in the game. It's the game. Bye. And take it out. No storage used. Because I don't think kids should be handling like you know, hardware storage devices. The PlayStation 4 is a very 25-year-old ass console. Not as in the age of the console, but as in the audience of the console. Because I don't it just feels weird to me seeing a kid under like at least like 13 holding that controller. Like I don't think there are barely any. The PS4 has a massive amount of games. And I could only like tell you like maybe 20 games that would be for kids, made for kids specifically, you have the Crash Bandicoots. You got they're mostly re-releases of older games because they don't make games specifically for kids. They make these little playgrounds for kids and adults that kind of roam around, like Fortnite or Roblox or whatever, and they're kind of always online, like free to play kind of experiences. And they just don't make kids games anymore. They barely like license games. The most we got this year was like the Patrick Star game. Like it's kind of weird. We're in a dire strait when it comes to that kind of thing. And I feel very bad because I love, I love sharing video games with family members and stuff. But I guess those family members are getting older. But if people I know have kids, then I want to tell them about the games I like. But if I can't show a kid Metal Gear Solid. I can't. And I might say I just said earlier I didn't. You know what I mean? I can't show a kid like the masterpieces of the thing because I can show Mario Galaxy, but it's not PS4. It's not PlayStation. PlayStation's like a console for like the dude coming home from work. He's like, time to get on Call of Duty. Time to talk to my friends on the microphone for a few hours before I have to go pick up my bitch wife from work or something. Like it's like no, it's just not made for the same audience. Nintendo's kind of made for like the kid, the teenager range, and then now it's kind of made for like the wider range, maybe like teenager to adult range, maybe now a little bit more, but it's mostly you still have most of the games for like kids, but you have a lot more aiming up. You got your Fire Emblems, your Xenoblades, your stuff like that. But Zelda's still like, you have these big substantial games that could be played by like, a 5-year-old. You wouldn't worry about them. And it's not the fact that I want, I need every game to be baby game 9,000. But I was like, it's just like, it shocked me how few games of quality there are for certain audiences, It's not like, it's like every game they want to package into a live service. That's my big issue, You have like, if you want a Dragon Ball game, right? You have a good amount of options. You have Kakarot, you have Xenoverse, you have Fighters, you have Sparking Zero, right? That's all on PS4 pretty much, except Sparking Zero, which I could not run a PS4. I'd be able to, but probably should not. But if you want like certain games, like like there's still fans of Sailor Moon. I don't know. Well, where's their game? Where's my Chainsaw Man game? I'm sick of waiting, man. Fujimoto would definitely be like, yes, make one, please. I don't know if you like Platinum Games, get ready. Like, yeah, Platinum Games fell off, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I'm getting to that. In contrast to having, so few like kids games, at the very least the PS4 has a lot of adult games. And Bloodborne, the reason I was so fixated, I did this after work. I was so tired and depressed after work that day. I was so sad. But I was like, I need to do this right now. I fixed that PS4 the same day. Took it apart. It took like an hour. It took like less than an hour because I already knew every single damn screw in there. But like, and then but like the reason I was fixated, I was like, I really want to play Bloodborne. I accidentally bought 2 copies of Bloodborne. That's a different story. But I really wanted to play Bloodborne to the point where it was like, I was like, because it wasn't like a game. I was like, I don't get excited for games like the same way I get excited for like Pokemon back in the day. Like Pokemon, I used to be able to like, like I was so excited I could barely stand straight. I was like, oh my god, Pokemon Black and White, no, like I'll never be that excited for a game again. But I was like, man, I really just want to I want to play Bloodborne. I just need to see what it's like. It's like anticipation, right? And of course, time and adulthood dulls all your senses, makes you a stubborn, old, sad person. But I just really wanted to play Bloodborne. And when I got to it, I'm just like, this was worth it. This was worth it because Dark Souls 1. I don't finish games, but I played Dark Souls 1 and I played all the way to Anne Orlando twice, no, 3 times, and I got stuck at the same place, Orange City Smoke, every single time. And even though I followed a guide one time, I still couldn't do it because my level was too low. I was like, I don't feel like grinding these enemies for the rest of my life. Someone needs to help me with that. Actually, don't help me with that because Dark Souls fans, when they help you with something, they're not good about it. They're very rude. But it was Dark Souls 1 is like, I mean, it's probably a sleeper hit in one of my top games, but I don't feel good about putting games I don't finish that much into my top games. But like, if I was like that, it was like, yeah, no, that game is great. That game is one of the greatest games of all time. I believe in the hype because Dark Souls 1 is a interconnected, very dense world. It has such deliberate pacing. That's the main thing about it. It's the pacing, it's the aesthetic, it's the how everything feels, you know. And I love everything. I get to play a game. When I play a game, I want to feel something. It's not even about I want to play it because good gameplay. If the gameplay makes me feel like I'm cool, that's what it's about. You know what I mean? This is the difference. So if you ever recommend me a game, you have to think about that. Also, don't recommend me games. I have too many, as you can see. But how it feels, you know. It's like the game feel, the aesthetic, the emotions it tries to convey in you, right? Undertale, one of my favorite games because it makes you feel a certain way. It brings you to this crescendo of emotion. It has these very evocative, very emotive musical pieces, right? And that's like with every game. So Dark Souls 1 is how it feels like that. Dark Souls 2, the game feel just doesn't feel the same. I'm thinking about like too much about the game mechanics. Dark Souls 1, all I think about is really the humanity. I barely use it anyway. I don't mind feeling gross and like looking gross. It's like a beef jerky. And I never use the online features of any Souls game. I do not care. Unless it's Elden Ring, because Elden Ring was clearly designed for that, because some of those bosses are crazy. But or at least like the multiplayer, which they're making a co-op Elden Ring game now, actually. But yeah, you have all of these like different segments of the world. You go into back and forth. It feels like an adventure, but it also feels like very gothic and feels like very lived in, but it's not. It feels very empty. It's simultaneously empty, like Anne Orlando, right? It's this big grand place, but it feels so empty and lifeless. But it's not. But it's like there's a ton of enemies there, but it feels so empty. I don't know how to describe it because the enemies don't really have any consciousness. There's only like one person there, maybe two people with consciousness there. So it's like it's liminal. It's actually genuinely liminal. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So you have that Dark Souls, amazing game, but then Bloodborne. Like, I've been waiting for a game. Like, Dark Souls has certain game mechanics I'm like, felt kind of iffy about, right? I remember watching the H-Bomber guy video essay about it years ago. And, those do form my opinions on certain things. I cannot deny. But I was like, when you talk about Bloodborne, I'm like, I really want to play Bloodborne one day. I really want to play Bloodborne one day. But like, PS4 is too expensive. If I ever, I'll get a PS4 whenever I get around to it. I'm like, maybe I'll get to it now. Now I got it. Now it's there. I'm playing Bloodborne. And everything said was right. The game is just so much more offensive oriented, and that's why Dark Souls is fun. You have the dodging and rolling, you have the kind of fencing back and forth. That's why Dark Souls is fun. Staying behind your shield sucks. Staying behind your shield is awful. It's not fun. I do that all the time. It's just not fun. Dodging and rolling and jumping between enemies and falling down to your death, that's what the Dark Souls and the Souls series is really about, they're difficult because they're like a hack and slash game, but you're not hacking and slashing. You're more of like tiptoeing and, slicing a little bit, and, the difficulty always precedes the Souls games and the discussions. They kind of winded down now. But around the mid 2010s, it was really bad. But yeah, it's not about like, it's like, I guess they are probably the hardest, most challenging games in like terms of like the, mainstream AAA space, maybe in general. Yeah. I'm surprised that they even got this popular. I think it's pretty cool, but for me, it's, the Souls games are always about the aesthetic, right? So it's about the game feel aesthetic. So Bloodborne, amazing game feel because you go in there, you slice, and you have the gun at your left hand, and then you could change the way your weapon looks and controls, and it was great. It's amazing. And then the movement, it's so smooth, it's so eloquent, it's just beautiful. And then after that, you have like you have this like amazing air. I'm not even that far in, but like the areas are like just so beautiful because you have like, this kind of gothic cityscape kind of thing, which is very unusual for Souls kind of games because all the other ones, they're more like medieval kind of stuff, but like pushing it later onto that, it just makes it feel a lot more like, and it's a lot more cramped. The level design's a lot more interesting, and it goes some places are wider, some places are thinner. But like, yeah, the level design just tends to be a lot more interesting, and I just like how cities look. I don't know. It's hard for me to get into medieval stuff. I had this, I'm talking with a friend about this, but medieval stuff is just like one of those things. It's like, I just can't get into it. Fantasy, basic, fantasy like Lord of the Rings fantasy. I just don't like it. I'm trying. I really want to get into it, but I just don't find myself like attaching to it right. And Dark Souls, it doesn't feel like basic medieval fantasy. It's like in that more berserk vein, but it's still I always prefer like cities and stuff, or like more modern stuff in terms of like thing. Maybe a little bit sci-fi, but when you go past a certain point of sci-fi, it's like, all right, it depends. But because Blade Runner is my favorite things, so that's probably where my affinities lie in terms of aesthetics. But guess what? Bloodborne kind of has that middle ground. I like the way it like looks. It's a lot darker, but I think the only issue I have with Bloodborne is that it's a lot more muted in terms of colors. But I mean, that's all the Souls games. They're very deliberately designed to be very muted in colors. But that's just what I think about it. But yeah, Bloodborne. I just need to play more of it. But it's worth the hype. It's worth the hype. It's great. It's an amazing game. It's a amazing game. Like, it's like probably the best Souls game. It's my favorite because it just has like the gameplay it does. The gameplay it wants you to do. The gameplay the only one you can do is like the most action-packed, interesting version of a Souls game. And I also feel a lot less confused than I usually do in a Souls game, because when you are just starting out, all the Souls fans, calm down here, talk to your friend about how they feel about Souls, because I know you know everything. You have the wiki up. You're looking at Vati Vidya videos right now. You can beat it with your eyes closed, but I'm not that person. I got shit to do. So I will just sit there and be like, all right, well, I can level up this. I'm looking for a weapon. I don't see any weapons. Grind some more souls or whatever, and then that's it. And I'll just see a dodge and roll. I remember one time I beat Sif, like the little dog or whatever that was like carrying a sword, drastically under leveled. Like, and it took like I did like one hit at a time, and no, it took me like an hour. And I think I was like the part of the game I should have been at was like literally like half the game later. It was insane, and I thought that was the only way I could move on. And then I got that little parts, and I was like, oh, what do I do with this? I don't know. Maybe it was where I should have been. I don't remember. Yeah, Dark Souls 1 gets a lot of windy and confusing at some points, but yeah. I don't know. I shouldn't talk about Souls because Souls games make people mad because they're like, how dare you not know everything? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's all the games I've been playing. I have a lot of video games, video game videos, video game gaming, video gamer. Also, last note, this is a speed run. I've been playing the PS3. I set that up too. Xbox, we just, that's basically just been like a Grand Theft Auto 5 machine. I don't feel like rebuying it. Someone else wants to play Grand Theft Auto, and I was like, okay. I play Mass Effect on there, but might not. And I also got a copy of Tales of the Borderlands, which I also have on Steam. So I'm probably gonna play it on Steam because it looks kind of crappy on Xbox, but the game's pretty cool. Brame's funny as hell. It reminded me why I liked Borderlands in the first place, actually, because Borderlands, one of those games that like 3 and like the movie were so like a train wreck in terms of like characterization or whatever. From what I've heard, I didn't even bother with them. is that, and then people just talk so down on them all the time. They just forget why Borderlands was like, even cool. But it's basically just like, oh, this is a fun multiplayer shooter to play with people, and you have a weapon that screams every time you shoot it and makes you run slow, but it does a goddamn truckload of damage, so you can't stop using it. You got to switch back and forth between your other guns, and it's like, that's fun. I wish Randy Pitchford wasn't such an asshole, but it happens. So, yeah, PS3. Real quick, Kingdom Hearts. PS4. I already talked about it. I had Uncharted 2. Good game. I might get it on PS4. Probably a better version. Uncharted 2. Also, the font on it weirds me out. I'm like, why is this such a goofy font? Press X to think, and it's like the Comic Sans. It's not really, you know what I mean. The font is weird. Good game. I'm surprised I didn't play it sooner, but I'm letting myself be open to a lot more Western shooty style games from the past. So there was a lot of games. I got a couple games. I got Need for Speed Carbon. I played a couple rounds of that. It doesn't feel as good as Heat, doesn't feel as good as Underground, but it's pretty good. Might need to play more of that. It's kind of the sequel to Underground, but I might get back to it later. Riders on the Storm. Let me think. Shadow of the Colossus. I didn't play Shadow of the Colossus yet, but I played Ico a little bit. Great game. That's pretty much all I have to say about it right now. You hold someone's hand. That's the game. What's the other one? A couple of the games. Gran Turismo 5. I love Gran Turismo, and I set up a really good sound bar in the room I'm playing it in, and it sounds. Gran Turismo is like the game. Gran Turismo will be like the first 16K video game. Like, they optimize it to the point where it's like scary. Like, they have such a good technical like expertise on Gran Turismo that it makes Valve look like fucking EA. Like, it's insane. Like, it's like to the point where you'd have like even on the first PS2 game, it looks like 4K cars. If the resolution is higher on the PS2 version, it literally looks like it could be on a console 2 generations ahead. And even on the PS1, like Gran Turismo 2 looks very great. But by the time you get to 4 and 5, like if the Gran Turismo 5, it might as well just be a PS5 game. Maybe like late PS4. I don't know. Like, you could literally change a couple things and be that good. Like, Gran Turismo, I think they have diminishing returns at this point. Legitimate diminishing returns. To the point where it's like, I'm just like, it's just diminishing returns. So you have a lot of Gran Turismo to go around, though. If you like, it's so cool that those are the best selling PlayStation games usually, because I love Gran Turismo so much. They're like the best racing games because it feels like luxury. It feels like a game that someone would have in their like literal movie theater setup, and like they'd be a rich person, like a Saudi Arabian prince or something, playing Gran Turismo. It feels like you're going to a luxury car dealer and they're showing you the cars around, and you can't afford it, but you're enjoying the test drives and pretending like you're of that little slice of humanity, right? It's like you don't feel like you're out of place. They're very kind, they're very polite, it's very good customer service, but it's not your permanent place to stay. But you just feel like learning more about how they work, how the cars work, the history of the brands, what war crimes each brand committed. Every single thing is beautiful in Gran Turismo. And the thing about it is that it's so available. You can buy a Gran Turismo for like $5. There's literally one free on PS4, 11 gigabytes. It's so small. And it's like, they're just like magnificent games. The handling is incredible. The only issue is that Gran Turismo 7 apparently had a horrible like monetization model. I'm like, you are the chosen one. You are the one guy we could trust to have a great game, consistently, well optimized, beautiful at the start, amazingly designed, meticulously recorded, audio, beautiful. Everyone's on their full steam ahead. Everyone's a master of the craft. They care so much about these cars. And then Sony or Polyphony Digital, I don't know, whoever decided to add all those microtransactions, man, and I didn't experience it, but I read up on it. I saw what the kind of microtransactions they had. I'm like, nah. It's so tragic. I think there's a couple more games on there. I usually use my PS3 or before the PS4 was set up. I usually use the PS3 as a Blu-ray player because I have a lot of Blu-rays. Like I have a lot of Blu-rays. Um, so I have a lot of Blu-rays. So or like no, I have a lot of DVDs and slightly less Blu-rays. But yeah, because Blu-rays are so cool, high quality, like lossless audio a lot of time. And they're just like cheap. They're dirt cheap. Like I got like American Psycho for $5. $5. Like I went to the library, $1 for Blu-rays. Like it's crazy how cheap they are. And it's because I want to watch the goddamn movies. Because that's the issue. When you're a disc collector, you shouldn't be a disc collector because you want to like. Well, first of all, you shouldn't be a hoarder, but you shouldn't be a disc collector because I need to collect all these. I want to resell them. Blah blah blah. Like no, it's a bad idea. I don't think there are that many. You'd find a lot of better things to sell if you want to do that. I mean, people are doing that with games and they're barely breaking even. But also I hate people do that with games. Fuck you. But if you are collecting discs, then just go for the coolest stuff you can get for cheap and then enjoy them. Because I get I have almost an entire like Wes Anderson collection. I think I'm like maybe 5 movies away. I think I need Asteroid City, Rushmore, Bottle Rocket. I think I need one more. Moonlight Kingdom, Moonrise Kingdom. But I almost have an entire Wes Anderson collection, and I got them all just by just looking around thrift stores and like pawn shops and whatever. Because they just have a ton of DVDs there. I got the deluxe edition of Fantastic Mr. Fox though, and I got the French one, the newspaper. And that was like I want to say I got that from like a music store or something. Yeah. But otherwise, they're all just very basic purchases. So if you want a movie, if you love movies, just go and just browse DVDs and Blu-rays. I mean, I could take DVD quality. I don't really notice I notice a difference, but it's like, when I'm watching the movie, I don't really care that much unless it's like a very text-based movie. But yeah, I mean, if you go and you like movies, just go and just find some movies. Go to a thrift store, just go get some movies, man. That's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. PS3, PS4, very good Blu-ray players. Use optical audio or use HDMI ARC if you're gonna do any kind of really good quality audio stuff. Like, cause the buzzing sound, you notice it a little while if you really like watching stuff, but it really does sound a lot better. It feels like you're using like surround sound, even on the most basic like soundbar setup. You're using a lot of like it sounds amazing. So definitely, if you have a soundbar, if you want to invest in I highly recommend investing in a soundbar or even a surround sound setting, but probably soundbar, and just getting a really good audio setup for your living room or for your getting really good headphones for your PC or speakers for your PC or whatever, because you have all these experiences, you have all these movies or whatever you watch, and then you have the biggest 4K TV, but then you watch them in like the worst quality audio on the speakers on the TV, right? Because the TV's flat panel will be beautiful, and then the smart TV attachment will be kind of crappy. It'll be pretty terrible, but it'll be like this 4K panel, and then you have like this crappy speaker that sounds like worse than a Game Boy. It's just not cool. So just go and buy a soundbar if you can, and then or buy one of those optical audio, and you plug it right into the console itself. You don't plug it into like the TV. So yeah, for the audio. I didn't realize this until recently because I'm stupid. I had a soundbar that had optical audio before, but I didn't know what optical audio was until fairly recently. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I've been talking for an hour, and I gotta go do stuff I was gonna do, but it made me feel a lot better. I like talking. I like yapping, and at least one person listening. And I don't really care because I got shit to do. I don't even have time to think about stupid ass YouTube anymore. I do have an album I'm making, and it sounds amazing. But it sounds amazing, but it doesn't sound as good as Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia, so I might as well give up and go die. But It's coming out eventually. I got a few songs done in terms of like done. Except maybe like mastering, more mixing, tinkering on that. And a few ones I gotta write lyrics to. I might add a couple of songs here and there, subtract. That's the same way I made the last album. You know, kind of shift them back and forth. All right, this song's good. This song doesn't fit the theme, and it's called Amen Brother. Amen Brother. I have the title set up before I even started the album because it's themed. It's not a concept album, but it's themed. So yeah. If you listen this far, you're probably interested in that. So that's all I'm saying. Also, you still can give me money on Patreon, but I don't really care anymore. Like I got shit to do. Yeah. I mean, it's like I got so many games to play. I actually got to shower consistently now. Now, no. Anyway, but yeah. Go and play. Go play Cave Story. Cause it's 20 now, and you gotta say happy birthday to it. You know, it's a little late as the video is posted right now, but it deserves the thing. And since videos don't typically get recommended, especially my videos don't get recommended in general, but since they don't get recommended to people anytime after maybe like a week they're posted, do it now. No time as good as the present. So yeah, it's an hour. This has been the Maple Podcast, which is not patron of the internet, patron of the algorithm, because I have to have a guest for that one. I don't feel like getting guests. Should unsubscribe. Bye.